in the building, man.
What's poppin', Talks fam? You can now listen to our show on demand. To keep up with our latest shows, some of our favorite moments, and exclusive interviews, make sure you head over to iHeart Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Here we go. Good morning, ATL. It's your boy, Crez B. And I'm here with
Abbie Knights. Hey.
What's happening?
What's happening? Round of applause to Crez. I got him to clap today, y'all.
Hey.
Since you told me last week my claps wouldn't suffice.
Claps. We deserve hand claps. You got to pat each other on the back sometimes, man.
Right? Pat myself.
Right. Pat yourself on the back. And you look good. You got your shades on. I see you.
Trying to be cool like you, you know. So I feel like I'm part of the boys club. You know what I'm saying? Feel like I got my little vibe going on.
You cooler than me. I had to wear a hat. I'm bald headed. You got hair.
You still didn't find the replacement hair you wanted?
You got hair.
Thank God, yeah. Because could you imagine me bald and my head as big as it is? It would not be good. I look like a bobblehead.
Thank God.
Yeah,
I'm going to thank him for you.
You should. High five him while you're at it.
He's amazing. Hey, man, it was a tough week in the sports world. A fellow brother, like I said, 1%er. I say 1%er, you know, it's you go to college, you play sports, you play football. Only 1% of your class actually is expected to get drafted in the NFL. So when I say 1%er, that's what I mean by that. Fellow 1%er, Damar Hamlin, played for the Buffalo Bills Monday night, suffered a injury that, you know, we as football players never expect, you know, to happen in a game. You know what I mean? It's the game. It's not. We don't look at the game as a life and death situation until something like this happens. He made a tackle and tried to get up and just collapsed. And it's just to see that, you know, for me, you know, being that I played the game for a long time, 12 years professionally, and, you know, growing up as a child, you played, you know, Little League and all that. But to see that, it for me, it opened my eyes that this really is a gladiator sport. It's a sport that, you know, that is, you know, life or death. Definitely want to send out my condolences, my prayers, everything to the family. He's still fighting. You know, he's young. His body is, you know, is able to fight as hard as it can. But I don't know. You know, it left me in a space mentally where I'm like, man, do I even want my son to play football? That's where the parents are with it right now. You know, I train athletes, I train football players, young athletes, and, you know, I get the question all the time, what age should they start to play tackle football? And I'm just like, well, you have to be comfortable as a parent to know that injuries do happen, you know, in this sport. I don't know, you know, how they take that. You know, the perks of being a professional athlete is you know, financially, you know, you get, you know, you make a lot of money. But as you seen Monday, injuries like that come with the territory, you know. So, you know, how do you feel if you was a parent? I know you don't have any kids. If you was a parent, would you let your kids play or son play a sport like football?
I've actually had this conversation with friends before. Friends that have kids and that were asking me, like, if you had them, what would you do? And it's kind of a tough place to be because I feel like if I had kids, like if I had a son, I would want to support whatever his dream would be. So if he decided he wanted to play football, I feel like I would have to find a way to be comfortable supporting that, but maybe also try to educate him on what comes with it, which I think maybe a lot of people may not think is important, maybe when they're younger kids. But I don't know, because I feel like if that's somebody's dream and you take that away,
Right.
I don't think I could do that if I had a kid. But I think
Right.
I would want them to
Right.
understand what comes with it, because I feel like if it's something they love, they're going to find a way to do it anyway.
Right. Right.
What about
It
you?
was
Because
just
you
tough.
have a son. Because, I mean, I don't know.
It
Would
was
I
tough.
want my kid to? Hell no. Because I
Right.
know what comes with football. Like, personally, absolutely not. There's a lot of things a lot of people wouldn't want their kids to do. That's super dangerous. But
Right.
at the end of the day, it's like, what do you do? Do you take their dream away, or do you find a way to support them in the safest way possible?
Mentally, you do understand as a father, you do understand, as a father, as a a former player, you do understand that injuries do happen. You don't really, it don't register that, okay, this is it's a life or death situation in his circumstances, his situation. I don't know how you prepare your mind for that.
You
I
don't.
don't,
You can't.
I don't know. So, and I was thinking, when I seen it, it's like you prepare for the football game. You run out there, you go in the end zone, you take a knee, you pray before the game. And I know my prayers before the game is, Lord, please protect me from hurt, harm, or danger, right? I don't remember me praying, Lord, please protect me from death, because at the end of the day, it's a game. You know what I mean? It's like you wake up that morning, you don't know. He woke up Monday morning and was like, man, it was an important game. You know what I mean? They were
Mm.
fighting for first place in the division. And one of my former teammates said it best. He wouldn't want to be in no other place at no other time than Monday night.
Where he was.
Bengals versus Bills. We fighting for the division. And it happened in the first quarter. So it's like, how do you even as a player now, a current player, how do you prepare yourself to play another football game? And for me, that's just it's hard to put into words how I was feeling that night when it happened. And I know with athletes, it was live. And I say this all the time. I said this to one of my guys at the gym. I'm like, it's happened before. Players have died, off the field, in practice, but to see it live on TV for millions to see, like, I think that's what made it such a uh like unbelievable, unbelievable scene, because we all seen it. Like, you can see social media, something pop up on social media, a former NFL player dies of this, or a basketball player died from this, but you don't see it live. So it's like, dang, that's bad, that's terrible. But then
Hmm.
to actually see it,
Yeah,
like,
the
it
footage
just
was heartbreaking. Not
it
gonna
messed my
lie.
whole it messed my whole mental up. It was hard for me to train. It was hard for me to go train the guys. I trained college football players. I trained pro football players. It was hard for me to train that the next day, to train someone to, like, and to help them understand, like, man, that was a once in the that it don't happen, but it does. You know what I
It
mean?
does.
So
I think, I don't know. My biggest thing when I saw it was, how do you even get to that point? Was it the adrenaline? Was there a pre-existing heart condition? Was it a combination of everything plus being hit? Because there's so many guys over the years that play this sport, and it's
right,
not a super common thing that you just see happen.
right,
But I think also my biggest issue is is the lack of humanity that comes with some of the fans. People forget that um, athletes are human beings. And I
right.
feel like some of the general public treats athletes like like
Gladiators,
not necessarily. It's almost kind of like when you
unhuman.
when you go to a circus and you're
Yeah,
entertained, and it's like, the animals are there, and the animals have to perform regardless of how they feel, right? And if they don't, it's kind of like they have to find a way, they have to perform. So
right,
it almost, to me, the lack of humanity and compassion attached to that makes me feel like people view athletes in some ways
Right.
as part of being like part of a circus, sort of, because it's like they're just there for entertainment, but they don't think about all the training that goes into it, what your body goes through before you even set foot on the field for a game. The years of being sore, of putting your body through the ringer constantly, injuries that
Right.
you've suffered before you even get to that point.
The preparation. Right.
Right. To then be there and you're doing the best that you can to put on a great show, to perform for your team, to not let down your teammates, and to also make sure that you're fulfilling your dream. It's a tremendous amount of pressure as is for one individual psychologically. And I don't
Right.
think anybody really stops to think about that part because they dehumanize athletes so much. So
Right.
I think a big lesson in this for a lot of people was learning to understand compassion in a situation like this, because I can't believe that anybody would, one, question why the game was stopped immediately,
Right.
and
Right.
why nobody is having a conversation about when the next game is happening.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't play football, and I really
Right.
don't know much about. I love basketball, but I can't
Yeah.
sit here and talk analytics with you. But my first thought was definitely not about when the next game was happening or what was going to happen with the season. My only concern is looking to see the updates on what his condition is, period. And how
I
could you
think
expect
really,
a team to
yeah.
play?
And so, being that I played, right, when the ambulance come out, it's like, okay, as a fan, oh, it's serious. Um, as a player, we because you seen that when you see the hit, it's a normal tackle. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think everybody on Buffalo's team, I don't think they seen him collapse. I just think they, unless you were on the field, um, once he collapsed, then you think, okay, maybe it's a head neck injury, right?
Right, right.
But when you get word, okay, it's not neither one of those, and then you see CPR being administered, you're like, dang, is he alive? It went from 0 to 100 like real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a fan watching it on TV, or me knowing that, okay, the ambulance is out, it got to be something serious. And so then it went to a step further where it's like, okay, now he's not giving us the thumbs up from a player that's being, put on a stretcher, or that's being, when it's a head or neck injury, that
Mm-hmm.
thumbs up, that means, okay, he's okay. You know what I mean? And so when I didn't see the thumbs up, that's when I was texting my homies like, okay, something going on. And then you
Mm-hmm.
start reading Twitter, and then you start reading, Instagram. It's like, oh, is he even alive? Like that crossed my mind like that whole time. He didn't give me a thumbs up or nothing. I'm like, man, is he alive? Everybody in my group message was going crazy. It was crazy. It was a crazy night for me
It's definitely heartbreaking. I think whether you're a football fan or not, I think that for a lot of people it hit close to home, just like I said, from a humane aspect. And
Right,
seeing something like that, like you said, it hits different than someone talking about it. Because yeah,
right.
you can hear, oh, that sounds sad or whatever, but when you actually see it, it's different. And I
It
feel
is
for the family too, because that's on replay everywhere. So the family
everywhere.
has to see that. So I'm really hoping that he's going to pull through. From the headlines I've been seeing, it seems like he's making progress, but he's still in critical condition. So we're definitely sending our prayers out to the Hamlin family and hoping that, he pulls through this and makes a speedy recovery, because at the end of the day, his well-being is really all that matters at this point. So,
Definitely. And on a lighter note, he was having a toy drive that he does I think he said every year, and he started it when he wasn't in the league. So I think this is the third year. He had 2,500 up until Monday.
4
Guess
million.
how he's at $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a positive. Like certain things, there is positive in it.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It brought a lot of people together. It brought the football world together. It brought athletes together. You seen the hockey team in Buffalo, wearing what was it, Fight for Three.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
so
actually, all the NFL social accounts switched their profile picture to his number as well, and his last name. And a lot of stadiums across the country actually have also changed their stadium colors at night, to honor him also and to show support, which is a really beautiful thing when you see that kind of unity. Because at the end of the day, he's 24 years old. He's 24. Just starting his life. That's crazy.
Exactly.
If I was a parent right now, I don't think I could.
And no pension. He's only been in the league 2 years. And I don't even want to speak on that because I go all day about that. Mm-hmm. And I go all day about why our contracts, or why wasn't, with the new bargaining, why wasn't NFL contracts guaranteed when things like this can't happen in our sport. But I'm not going to say anything about it because I go all night. Yeah, I go all night. I'll be cussing out Roger Goodell. And I don't look. My son's still growing up. He might make it to the league, and Roger Goodell's son might be the commissioner, and then boom.
Remember Dallas that one time your daddy said that one thing?
Right.
Yeah, boy.
Remember your daddy was on that show? Nope, don't happen. I ain't gonna say nothing about Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell, you still need to do better. How about that?
And we will leave it at that, I guess.
We're gonna leave it at that, Abbie.
So, going back on a much lighter note, to our conversation with George a couple weeks ago, we were talking about this whole locker room talk debacle, and I definitely did say I was gonna chat it up with Jenny and see what kind of questions she has when it comes to what fellas might discuss in locker room, but also what women want to know
what she got for
from
us.
the
What
locker room.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves because, well, Jenny's one of a kind. That's really all I can really say.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah, that's exactly where it's gonna go.
Okay.
I do have a question for you, Jenny. If you had the opportunity to speak to any professional athletes and ask them 2 questions about what they talk about in the locker room, what would the 2 questions be?
Wait, okay. If I got to choose any 2 athletes that have played or currently playing, and ask them 2 questions about what?
Okay, Jenny, you got 2 fine athletes. Okay, boo-boo. You can ask them any 2 questions about what type of topics of discussion go down in the locker room. You're asking the questions that everybody wants to know. What are the 2 questions you would want to know about what they talk about in the locker room?
Who do you think is in the locker room, and who has the biggest and smallest pee-pee?
Wow.
That's what I want to know.
Those are like way on the opposite end of the spectrum right there.
Okay, let's throw in 2 more questions just in case. What would the other 2 questions be?
Throw in 2 more just in case, because I'm not going to use those.
Yeah, we're not using them.
That's what I would want to know. Like, if we're going to be super uncandid, right? Candid, whatever, then I'd want to know stuff that you probably think about, but no one would ever say out loud.
Think about, but not say out loud. Okay.
That's what I'd want to know. I mean, everything else would be, I don't know. That's what I'd want to know. I can't even think of any 2. Now I'm stuck on that. Who has?
You're just thinking about who's got a big and a small pee-pee. That's about it. That's where you stopped there.
Because that's locker rooms. That's like locker room talk is boy talk, is man talk. It's like when you're, drinking with your boys, whatever. But I feel like if I really want what I really want to know is what's going on in their mind.
Okay. All right.
And I want to know who has the biggest and smallest pee-pee.
Okay, I'll be sure to relay that information. Thanks for this. So, in regards to big and small pee-pees,
Right.
I'm assuming that you're just gonna opt out.
How do I answer that? Okay.
First of all, who no straight guy just walks around just looking at everybody's junk. All right, like
Right.
it don't happen like that. And unless you happen to be walking by somebody, I mean, you might look and be like, "Damn," in your own head, but and then be like, "Ooh, I'm not working with so much." But I don't think any guy ever really straight man is gonna sit there and being like, "Oh man, did you see so and so's? It was like, man, it was big." Like,
Right. Yeah, you're not.
nobody's doing that.
Yeah. No.
So we're just gonna bypass that question. But there's Jenny for you. It was an honest question for her.
It was. And what she said really wasn't like she want to know what a guy's thinking in the locker room. Like
Exactly.
The thought. You know what I mean? Like you might have I feel like
not the stuff you talk about, but the stuff that
every
you
man
actually
has
think about that you don't discuss.
yeah. So you might be in the locker room. You might be like,
Sorry, she really threw me off with that one question.
yeah, she threw me off too. She threw me off too. Now I had a teammate who just walked around with no towel on, and like, you could be damn drying your leg off or something, sitting down at your locker room, and then boom, you pop up and he just walking by. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, the bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, put your damn towel on. You know what I mean? But just to be like, damn, that PP bigger than mine. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody. I don't think anybody's saying that shit.
Oh my.
But and then with the first question, who do you think is gay on the team? Yeah, I don't think you have that thought out. You don't say it out loud, but they do say it's one on every team.
Or a few.
Or a few on every, but there's at least one on every team. And you just don't, but you don't go searching and try to figure out who it is. It's just like.
But my whole thing is, at the end of the day, does it really matter though?
I mean,
you might not be, okay, take that back. Let's reel it back in. Okay.
It does matter. And why does it matter? It doesn't matter. I'm not judging nobody. Like, I won't judge you, even if somebody came out and told me. But I would want to know, just you might carry yourself differently around the locker room, knowing.
Well, and you're not going to be walking around naked like so freely and stuff like that. So I feel like that's the only part where it really applies. Not the actual game, but the comfort level in how you might not be the dude that wants to just be walking across somebody when they look up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had a lot of teammates that don't like to wear towels. And I'm just like, man, listen.
A lot of girls, I'm sure, would love to be a fly on the wall for that. Jenny definitely would.
Jenny sounds like she would want to be a fly on the wall and on the towel.
Depending on the size of the towel, though. I think is kind of what she was getting at.
Depending on what the towel is supposed to be covering.
If it's an extra small, probably not. If it's, pushing into the, that's probably where she would be at more likely than not. Yeah.
Some women don't like really big slongs.
Well, I mean,
speak for yourself. And on that note.
No, wait, but going back to what she said, hold on, she did have a good question.
Okay.
When you're talking about deep thinkers, right?
Right. Yeah.
What is like that was a good question. Like something that guys would typically think about but not necessarily speak on. I feel like maybe your fears going into a game and maybe not performing the way that you're hoping to, or maybe missing a pass, or I don't know, stuff like that. I feel like that's something that some men might think about and not really talk about in the locker room.
A big thing with me when I was preparing for a game or preparing for maybe not even practice, but a game. I didn't want to be the one to let the team down, and that was, and that comes with preparation during the week. You prepare during the week, you should be ready for, the unexpected. You should be ready for things that the other team should, because your weaknesses. If you know your weaknesses, the other team knows your weaknesses too. So I wanted to be the most prepared player in my position, or and it's all about in football, in any sport, it's all about one-on-one battles. Even though it's a team sport, you still have your one-on-one battles that you want to win, and you don't want to let your team down. So I don't know if it's fear. You have, no matter how long you've been playing, you're gonna have butterflies before the game. Your stomach gonna be turning a little bit. You're gonna, you want to be nervous. Hands gonna be sweating a little bit. But once you get in the game, like for me, it took one hit. Once I got one tackle, I was ready to go. But mentally, that was what my mindset was. Don't let my teammates down. I don't want to be the guy to lose the game. I don't want to be the guy to mess up. Even though you're gonna have some slip ups, but just got to bounce back, make more plays than you give up.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, we thank Jenny for her insightful questions.
It was a good question. I like the mental question.
The mental question was a little more. Yeah, it was.
I want to know Jenny's deep thoughts.
We'll definitely bounce that question back to her.
Hey now. Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break out, but we'll be right back. Make sure you don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Abbie Knights Show.
And you can tell her I said it.
In the building, man.
What's poppin', Talks fam? You can now listen to our show on demand. To keep up with our latest shows, some of our favorite moments, and exclusive interviews, make sure you head over to iHeart Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.